On October 17, 2002, in sworn testimony to the 9/11 Congressional Inquiry, CIA Director George Tenet would repeatedly claim that a March 2000 cable sent to CIA headquarters reporting that hijacker Nawaf al-Hazmi had entered the United States was not read by anybody.
The FBI was not notified of the fact that an al-Qaeda operative now was known in March of the year 2000 to have entered the United States. Why did the CIA not specifically notify the CIA? That's my question. The FBI.
Sir, if we weren't aware of it, when it came into headquarters, we couldn't have notified them. Nobody read that cable in the March timeframe.
So that the cable that said that Hazmi had entered the United States came to your headquarters, nobody read it.
Yes, sir. It was an information-only cable from the field, and nobody read that information-only cable.
Should it have been read?
Yes, of course, in hindsight.
And should it have been read at the time?
Of course it should have been read.
All right. My question is, do you know who should have read it?
I don't know that, sir.
Former counterterrorist Center Director Cofer Black will also claim that the cable wasn't read. However, a later investigation by the CIA Office of Inspector General will find that numerous CIA officers had actually read the cable shortly after it was sent. Nevertheless, the 9/11 Commission will later assert that no one outside the Counterterrorist Center was told any of this about al-Hazmi's arrival in the U.S. and neglect to mention that George Tenet had previously misstated the CIA's knowledge of the hijackers. Neither will the 9/11 Commission investigate the cause of the CIA's apparent inaction. However, on July 24, 2003, the 9/11 Congressional Inquiry's final report concludes that at least 6 hijackers received substantial assistance from associates in the United States, though it's not known to what extent any of these contacts in the United States were aware of the plot. However, according to a CBS report, some of these contacts came out later, many years later, in the Operation Encore file.
Now to that CBS News exclusive, new evidence of a link between 2 9/11 hijackers and a man said to be on Saudi Arabia's intelligence agency payroll. We see them together in newly released video turned over to family members of 9/11 victims last month, along with more than 14,000 pages of documents. The evidence obtained from British authorities raises new questions, actually renews an old one. Did the Saudi government assist the hijackers on 9/11? The Saudis have always denied that explosive question. Senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge has the story.
Less than 2 weeks after 9/11, these boxes of evidence containing personal notes and videos were seized by British police in Birmingham, England. Buried inside this home video from 2000, now being seen publicly for the first time. The event is described by the 9/11 Commission as a party at the San Diego apartment of 2 hijackers. While Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Midar avoided the camera, Midar can be seen here in the kitchen. Their team would later commandeer Flight 77, slamming it into the Pentagon. The party's host, a Saudi national, Omar al-Bayoumi, who British police arrested after 9/11, and from whom they seized the videos and documents. 3 years after the attack, the 9/11 Commission said there was no credible evidence that Bayoumi believed in violent extremism or knowingly aided extremist groups. Though a newly declassified FBI memo from 2017 reports Bayoumi was on the payroll of Saudi intelligence, a fact that was not confirmed at the time of the 9/11 Commission report.
I call him a facilitator because he helped them out.
Last fall, CBS News sat down with retired FBI agents Danny Gonzalez and Ken Williams, who investigated the hijacker support network. Both now work for the 9/11 families.
He helped them with apartments. He helped them with bank accounts.
He was also an employee of the government of Saudi Arabia.
Among the records, a notepad containing a handwritten drawing of a plane and mathematical equation that an expert said in a court filing could be used to calculate the rate of descent to a target.
Bayoumi is believed to be living in Saudi Arabia. We've tried to reach him through the Saudi embassy. It did not respond to our questions, but said in a statement last year, any allegation that Saudi Arabia is complicit in the September 11th attacks is categorically false. The FBI declined to comment for our reporting, Gail.
Yeah, raising some very troubling questions there. Thank you, Catherine.
But in June 2002, FBI Director Mueller testified, while here, the hijackers effectively operated without suspicion, triggering nothing that would have alerted law enforcement and doing nothing that exposed them to a domestic coverage. CIA Director Tenet made similar comments at the same time, and another FBI official would later state, there were no contacts with anybody we were looking at inside the United States. However, these comments were all untrue. Because one FBI document from November of 2001, uncovered by the Congressional Inquiry, concluded that 6 lead hijackers maintained a web of contacts both in the United States and abroad. These associates, ranging in degrees of closeness, include friends and associates from universities and flight schools, former roommates, and people that they knew through mosques and religious activities. The declassified sections of the 9/11 Congressional Inquiry's final report showed that the hijackers had contact with Marmoon Darkanzali, Mohammed Haydar Zamar, Osama Basnan, Omar al-Bayoumi, Anwar al-Awlaki, Osama Sam Mustafa, Ed Salameh, Nawaf al-Hazmi, and Khalid al-Midar, 2 al-Qaeda operatives who were involved with the hijacking of American Airlines Flight 77, who had contact with Osama Basnan, Omar al-Bayoumi, Anwar al-Awlaki, Sam Mustafa, and Ed Salama, maintained a number of other contacts in the local Islamic community during their time in San Diego, some of whom were known to the FBI through counter-terrorist inquiries and investigations. But details of these individuals and possible others are still classified. That is, until the latest Operation Encore files made them public. The question is, why isn't anybody interested in them?